For lesson 5, we're going to talk about rotations on the coordinate plane. So the first thing we want to do is we want to graph our original triangle. So we'll graph C negative 1, 2, O negative 1, 3, 4, 5, and W negative 3, 3. So C, O, W. So there's our first triangle. Then we want to graph and state, which means we need to write down our coordinates. The coordinates of C prime, O prime, W prime, the image of triangle COW after a rotation of 180 degrees. Now, it's positive, so therefore we are going to assume it's counterclockwise. Now, we can choose to either follow the rule, which the rule says xy goes to negative x, negative y, if you remember that. If you don't, then I would pick up your paper and I would turn it 2 turns to the left. And you end up with the coordinates 1, negative 2 for C prime. You end up with 1, negative 5 for O prime. And you end up with 3, negative 3 for W prime. So we go 1, negative 2, there's C prime. 1, negative 3, 4, 5, there's O prime. And 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and there's W prime. So now we have our prime triangle, and it wants to know what type of isometry is this. So if we look at C to O to W in our original triangle, we're going counterclockwise. If we look at C prime to O prime to W prime, even though it's flipped or spun 180 degrees, it's still going counterclockwise. Therefore, it is a direct isometry because those two orientations are exactly the same. For our second one, we'll do the same thing. We'll graph our original triangle, negative 1, 5, negative 1, 2, 3, 1, and negative 2, negative 2. So we've got C, A, T. So the first thing we want to do is we want to rotate, okay, graph and state, and we'll rotate about the origin 270 degrees. Again, counterclockwise because it is positive. So that's 3 left-hand turns, or you can remember the rule. The rule says xy goes to y negative x. So then C prime is going to give us 5, 1. A prime is going to give us 1, 3. And T prime is going to give us negative 2, 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. We've got 1, 3. And negative 2, 2. So C prime, A prime, T prime. And you should see that they are overlapping a little bit. So at this way, because when a triangle starts in 2 separate quadrants and you rotate it, it's going to still end up in 2 separate quadrants. Now, it doesn't want us to do anything about that yet. It wants us to actually do another transformation. It wants us to graph and state the coordinates of triangle C double prime, A double prime, T double prime, the image of C prime, A prime, T prime after a reflection in the x-axis. So notice it wants us to graph do the reflection to the new triangle, not the original one. So you could follow your rule for the reflection over the x-axis, which is x negative y, or you can just count your graph or your boxes on your graph. So C prime goes down 1, so down 1 again to C double prime. A 1, 2, 3, so 1, 2, 3. There's A double prime, and T prime 1, 2. And then 1, 2, 3. And you'll notice T prime actually ends up on top of the original T, which happens sometimes. It's rare, but it happens. And that's what we end up with. So C double prime is 5, negative 1. A double prime is 1, negative 3. And T double prime is negative 2, negative 2. Now the last piece is what type of isometry is the image in part C? So if we're looking at the newest triangle, the blue one, we want to talk about how our orientation for the original triangle, counterclockwise, for the prime triangle, counterclockwise, and then for the last triangle was clockwise. So since that's the only one that has the orientation flipped, it's opposite because the orientation flips. So since that's the only one that doesn't have the orientation preserved as our reflection, that's going to be an opposite isometry.